Hey guys, welcome back to Bonsai. It's me, your old Uncle Pinky, and another beautiful day here in the Barbie Dream Shop. We're working on the Mercedes-Benz again. We've got the motor and transmission mounted and in place. We're now sort of working through the ancillary stuff, and one of the main ancillary kind of things that we have to deal with is steering. The old motor and transmission were configured in a way that allowed a steering link to pass underneath them to hook the driver's side to the passenger side. We don't have that configuration in the new engine, and so we're going to have to do something to hook the two sides together. Here's the details. Okay, let's talk about steering systems, conventional steering systems, not rack and pinion steering systems. Here's the way steering typically works. Let's say we're looking straight down from above. We're standing on the hood, we're standing on the windshield and we're looking down at the car. We would see passenger tire and the driver's side tire, right? We would have a steering box, which is hooked to our steering wheel, right? And then off the front of the steering box, we have a pitman arm. So when we turn that steering wheel, that pitman arm moves back and forth, and that makes the wheels move, okay? On a normal car, what you're usually gonna see is there's gonna be a thing called a drag link. It's a bar that goes from one wheel all the way over to the other wheel, hooks those wheels together. So whatever one does, the other does, okay? Then we're going to have a center link that goes from the pitman arm to generally to the other side of the car, and then with a little tie rod end hooks onto the drag link. And so when we steer, pitman arm moves back and forth, it pulls the center link then moves the drag link moves the wheels. So you're probably saying, why do this? Why have all these things going to the other side of the car? And it's pretty simple. The longer those links are, the less affected they are, the less their length is affected by moving through their range of motion, right? If you have something that's this long and you move the end of it a couple of inches, it's going through a real, quite an arc because of the length of it. If I had something that was 3 feet long and I moved the end of it, it's only going through a very small range of motion in terms of its arc. What that does is it helps with bump steer. Bump steer is when the tire hits a bump, it moves up, the length of that link effectively changes because it's moving through its arc, and that wheel steers. Bump steer. Okay, so that's why they have these big long links instead of just little short guys. Mercedes does it a little bit different. This is kind of inelegant and sloppy, okay? So what Mercedes does, Mercedes instead we got our steering box, our pitman arm. Our pitman arm has a little tie rod that goes to the driver's side wheel, okay? Then on the other side, we've got, I would say it's considered a slave pitman arm. Some people would call it an idler arm. But basically, it's another pitman arm on the other side, and from there it goes with a short tie rod, the same length as this one, to the passenger wheel. And then there's a center link that goes from the pitman arm to what I'm going to call our slave pitman arm, or idler. What this does is this pivot point is then in line with the control arm's pivot points, which means that whatever that wheel does, the tie rod moves exactly the same with it. It doesn't change length as that goes up through its range of motion. You with me? They're both on the same arc. Okay, so this is a pretty cool way to do conventional steering. The problem that we have is that our new engine is right in the space where that needs to be, okay? So what's the solution? Well, one solution would be throw all this away, convert to a rack and pinion on the front, right? And steer it that way. I'd have to probably flip these from side to side so that they're now front steer instead of rear steer. It would be some bullshit. It would be a lot of bullshit. I don't want to do that. I think what I'm going to do instead, you can go away, rack and pinion that's not going to exist. I mean, look, I'm staying open to it. If my solution doesn't work, I'll try a rack and pinion. But for right now, what I think we're going to do, here's our engine in the way, we're going to make a center link that just goes down below it and comes back up. Is it going to work? I don't know. It might, you know, we might get death wobble because there's some flex in this. I'm going to build this. You know, I overbuild everything. If you haven't figured that out already, I substitute engineering knowledge with steel. So I'm going to overbuild the shit out of it. I think it's going to work. If it doesn't, then, you know, then we switch to a rack and pinion and we deal through all that nonsense. But, you know me, I am a practical man, if nothing else. And so let's just try this first and see what happens. It's just a little bit of metal in a couple hours. So here we go. Okay, my big beautiful audience full of gearheads, let me know what you think. Is this gonna work or not? My buddies are kind of split about 50-50. 50% of them say, yeah, why not? I mean, it's not the most elegant solution, but it's a solution. The other 50% say, nah, you're gonna get a death rattle, there's too much play, there's too much slop. I don't see how there's any more slop than it was before. I've taken the exact same joints at the exact same places and connected them together sort of in a wayward sort of fashion, but they're still the same things in the same relation to each other. So I don't know. We're gonna find out. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. All right. As always, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for just being